What's up, everyone? Welcome to This Day in Philly Sports History for May 15th, 2025. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Thursday edition of the podcast. We got a lot to get into today, so let's get into it. But first and foremost, want to make an announcement regarding the future of the podcast. I'd like to officially announce today that I have joined the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network. Been talking with them for a while. You've been hearing me talk up their Sports Fan Network as well as their podcast. And truthfully, what they are is a great group of guys, great group of members, like-minded people, love sports. Some of them even like Philly sports. But from a podcasting perspective, this is a great opportunity for me to continue to grow this thing. I've been at this for almost 1,000 days straight, coming up on that very, very soon. And I feel like I've maxed out my capacity as far as knowledge of the industry, knowledge from a production side. Obviously, content is there, but I felt like this was a great fit. I've mentioned Steven before. Him and I meet regularly. I've been involved with them from the very beginning, and it just made sense logistically. It made sense from a content standpoint, and just made sense from a standpoint of where I want to take this thing and what my next steps are. Trying to bust through sort of the ceiling that I'm at now. So officially have joined the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network. So what does this mean for the podcast? From a content perspective, not much. Still going to be giving you the same daily content. Maybe even the content will improve because a lot of some of the back end stuff will be taken off of my plate, or just one less thing for me to worry about and allow me to sort of expand what I have. Obviously, from a podcast and behind the scenes type, we do already have a new logo. You probably have already seen that or maybe noticed that. You also will notice some tweaks with the video presentation, which if you're watching on YouTube today, you probably already did that. Some of the bumpers and things as well. It will provide me with more crossover opportunities. You guys know I've guest hosted on some of those, some of their other podcasts that they have, football and baseball specifically. But it also will allow some of their guys that are part of the network to do some work and things with me. I'm already working on some things for this summer. Already have sort of an outline for something that I want to do, like a weekly thing for Eagle season. So this is going to provide me all those opportunities, like I said, to take this from where we're at and kind of burst through that ceiling. So stay tuned for that. But Steve and I have already been communicating. We communicate regularly, and we will continue to do it. From a production side, like I said, it's going to put me in contact with other content creators as well to bounce some ideas, kind of see where the trends are heading and things like that. So that is going to be huge. Obviously, being able to rely now fully on Steven for some of the production advice. I talk all the time about needing a Baba Booey. Won't necessarily be a Baba Booey in my studio every day. However, it will give me the opportunity to have a pro who knows what they're doing when it comes to production. Already have some things in the work, knowing what I need to upgrade and what I need to do in order to get this presentation better. So kind of have my Baba Booey now. I mentioned the Discord chat. That is directly part of me being a part of the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network. Been working behind the scenes to try to get that up and running. I'm looking to possibly do a soft rollout on this or of the Discord channel, possibly tomorrow, possibly this weekend, but certainly should be ready at some point next week. But at the end of the day, it's all about trying to grow this thing and trying to band together with a bunch of like-minded people in the same situation, trying to just fight the big podcasters out there and just carve out the niche. I truly 100% believe in the content of this podcast, the premise of this podcast. Like I said, I'm almost 1,000 years into it. Fully believe in it. So being able to regularly communicate with like-minded people like that is good. So I'm happy that I'm joining the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network. Again, from a content perspective, probably won't notice much, if anything, at first. But you might see some new faces, see me in some new places and things like that. So again, the main goal is to try to grow this thing. There will be some new sponsors that you'll be hearing about. Lots of good connections that way as well. So that is the big announcement. And again, I'm very, very happy. And as far as the Clashing Conferences go, I've been talking about them. What they are is it's a sports fan network. They're always looking for members. So if you want to get your voice heard, if you have something to say, but don't necessarily maybe have the technical background or the time to kind of put into producing a full-fledged podcast, go to clashingconferences.com. They're always looking for new members, and what they'll do is they'll give you a chance kind of like on a weekly basis to get your voice out there, get your voice heard, and then they take care of all the production stuff, so you don't even have to worry about it. It couldn't be easier. So go to clashingconferences.com for more details on that, how you can join, how you can become a member. Like I said, I highly recommend it. I truly, as you know, like when it comes to sponsors and things like that, I don't necessarily take them lightly. You might remember I had a couple sponsors in my early days back when I was doing Back to the Future that I cut ties with just because didn't like the way they were doing things. So if I'm putting it out there, I believe in them. So go check them out. Get your voice heard. Join. Become a member of the Clashing Conferences Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network. Get your voice heard on some of those podcasts. If you want any more information on them, go check them out wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. And a little side note bonus there too. If you do have your own podcast, a lot of podcasts are very niche based. So if you have a podcast that you're looking to grow or need some advice, I highly recommend getting with Steven, going to clashingconferences.com and kind of talking through it and seeing what they can offer. But that is the big announcement. I am officially a part of the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network. Again, spread the word. Let everybody know as we try to grow this thing, because truthfully, I don't have NFL money. I don't have the Swifties behind me yet. I'm working on it. She is from the Philly area, so she might be interested. But this is a great way for us guys that are trying to fight the big podcasts, the big money people, to really band together and take them on. All right. With that being said, there was a lot going on yesterday in Philly sports. So let's get right into it. The big announcement, or the big story, was the announcement of the Eagles schedule. And it's tough. I mean, we knew that going in. The Eagles are going to have a tough schedule. They are the defending champs. Everybody's going to have that game circled on their schedule as the one they really are focused on. We already knew pretty much at least half of it prior to the announcement. We know they're opening it up against the Cowboys. Then they go to Kansas City the next week for the big Super Bowl rematch. Follow that up by the Rams. And then go to Tampa, which always gives the Eagles trouble. So that's a tough 4-game stretch. I talk all the time about breaking the schedule down into pods. That opening pod is tough. And if they get caught by Dallas, 0-4 might not be out of the question, to be completely honest. I don't see that happening. It's out there. But bye week is late, week 9, which is good. We know what happened last year, though. It played out well, but with a team that everybody's going to be giving them their best, I like the fact that they have the bye week, week 9. And it could, I don't know. Like, I kind of went through this very quickly last night and came up with a win-loss total. Definitely a couple of swing games that are going to be dependent upon how the season plays out. That Tampa Bay game certainly will be a swing game. The Buffalo game late in the season. I see them splitting with the Cowboys and splitting with the Commanders this year. I do see them sweeping the Giants. Now that I'm part of the network, Topher, sorry, man. I just can't see the Giants beating the Eagles this year. But a slow start definitely is not out of the question. Kind of quirky that they play the Giants 2 out of 3 weeks up in October, and then play the Commanders 2 out of 3 weeks to close out the season. Would have liked to see those games split. Not that I'm worried about playing the Commanders, but after that epic NFC Championship game, we got to wait till Week 16 to play the Commanders when it might not mean anything when they play. But they do close out at home against the Commanders. I could see this going either way. DraftKings has the Eagles win-loss record over/under at 11.5, and at kind of going through it really quick without really putting much thought into it, it's right around where I have them. I have them 11 or 12 wins. Could they get to 13? Absolutely. Could they drop down to 10? Absolutely. So it's May. So we have a lot of time to break down the schedule. I personally don't even think the Eagles' opening day roster is set yet. I really do think that would not be the least bit surprised if after OTAs, Justin Simmons wants to come to Philly. The Eagles have a need. I would not be surprised. So I don't even think the roster is set. But on opening face value, I see 11 to 12 wins, somewhere in that range. Definitely not necessarily a step back per se. But the fact of the matter is, I mean, the schedule is tough. You got a first place schedule. You're the defending champs. It's going to happen. But the last time we said that, I mean, the Eagles did roll through what was the hardest part of the schedule at 10-1. We know how that season ended, so we won't get into that. But a lot can happen between now and September. But that's where I have it. But what are your thoughts? That is today's question of the day. How many wins do you got the Eagles winning this year now that the schedule is released? 267-495-8531. That's the Back to the Future voice and text line. Get that. Anything else Philly sports related off of your chest. Like I said, I got them around. I mean, I think it's a good number. As of this morning, DraftKings had it juiced minus 110 on both sides. So I truly do think that's the range for the Eagles. 11-12 wins this year. Should be competing for the NFC East again. But let me know your thoughts on how many wins do you got the Eagles having this year. It's the first of probably 3 or 4 times we'll have that same question before the season even starts. All right, lots of Phillies news yesterday. But let's start with a recap of yesterday's question of the day, because that was, and this is why I'm excited for the Discord channel to get going, because lots of great discussions going on about Pete Rose yesterday. 89% of you thought that he should be in the Hall of Fame. Don't disagree with that one bit. A lot of people said it was a long time coming. A lot of folks going into the discussion because some people brought up some things about Pete Rose's past that I had forgotten about. But I still think, and a lot of people agree, the Hall of Fame should be based on what you do on the field. It's not like if you're a scumbag, you're a scumbag, but you can be a scumbag and still be a great baseball player. So lots of debate about what constitutes being a scumbag, what should disqualify you. Part of the voting process, though, is your off-the-field sort of demeanor and activity, which I don't agree with. To me, if you're a Hall of Famer, it should be strictly based. There's murderers, there's racists, there's wife beaters, like I mentioned yesterday. All those people in the Hall of Fame as it is, and nobody bats an eye. But because Pete Rose bet on some games, kudos to Matt from Fort Washington, who pointed out something to me that he had heard, which I thought was a good point, because I had mentioned that, hey, he's betting on the Reds to win, and that's a good thing. However, what does that do on some of those off days? Maybe he goes all out on a Monday to win a game that he has money on, and then kind of rests everybody and resets for the bet he has on Wednesday for the Tuesday game. Good point. Again, I'm not saying he's not a scumbag. I'm not saying he should be celebrated as this Hall of Fame person. But as a Hall of Fame player, or as a baseball player, he's a Hall of Famer. But thank you, as always, for participating in the question of the day. Like I said, I'm looking forward to getting some Discord discussions going and chats and things like that. Because a lot, it's great on my Facebook page to see people that from different worlds that I'm in going back and forth and having conversations, and that's sort of what I envision for the Discord channel. But again, thank you for your participation. So the Phillies played 2 yesterday, and it was the tale of 2 games. They won game 1, 2-1 in the rain. Jesus Luzardo looked good, went 7 innings, 6 strikeouts. Kyle Schwarber's on-base streak did end at 47 games, but that's okay. Bryce looked better in that first game. They should have scored more than 2 runs, though. Some very questionable base running decisions. Marchand, yes, he did. I think he had 2 hits, but I don't know. I mean, I hate to even bring this up, but maybe it's time to think about bringing Garrett Stubbs back up because I don't know. Marchand just some very questionable, boneheaded decisions while running the bases, and I don't know. We'll see. Let me know your thoughts on that. I mean, I'm not saying it should happen. I just maybe Stubbs being down there right now is good for Painter, and then when Painter's ready to come up, Stubbs, and they'll make that switch. But game 2, 14-7, and I think we have an Aaron Nola problem. Worst outing of his career by far. And he's giving up the home runs. And truthfully, the home runs, he's serving up meatballs. He's missing the spots, which as a pitcher, you can't do. So I don't know. I'm not saying he should be out of the rotation, but he's certainly become a liability this season. And I apologize for the thunder in the background. Maybe it's the baseball god saying, chill with your Aaron Nola slander here. But just did not look good. 9 runs, 3 home runs. Just doesn't look sharp at all. And you can't even blame it on the weather. It wasn't cold. It was damp, so I'll give him that. But come on now. You got to be better than that, Aaron Nola. Schwarber, JT, Bohm all hit homers. Much needed day off today for the Phillies after playing 2 yesterday before welcoming the Pirates in for a weekend series. Get to see our first look at Paul Skeens this weekend too. I'm excited to see that. Maybe it's a preview of what we'll get with Andrew Painter. All right, some quick housekeeping. Obviously, follow me on social media, Jimbo_Mont on TikTok and Twitter. On Instagram, at Philly Jimbo. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mont, and continue to spread the word as we grow this thing. Check out the highlights on my other Facebook pages, and stay tuned for the Discord channel. And I'm trying to, like I said, grow and get into that. Like I said, I'll mention this. It won't be an official sponsor probably until next week. But if you're looking, these things are awesome. Lotwin Prints, Lotwin. You can print out your own hype chains. Everybody has the hype chains, whether it's the Fanatic. I've seen guys in my network with the Dallas Sucks. Like I said, my kids have the Fanatics. But these ones you can make custom made. And they're great for, like, if you have a high school team or a little league team. Great for fantasy football. I can already see, sure, you can get the championship one for the championship, but I would love to see guy having to walk around with a loser hype chain, whatever it is. But go check them out, lotwin.com, LOTWIN.com. Don't have a promo code or anything for them, but these things are awesome. Get your custom-made hype chains. I think I want to get one with the new This Day in Philly Sports History logo and just start wearing it around. But go check them out, lotwin.com, LOTWIN.com. All right, Union won yesterday 3-2. 3 second-half goals after falling behind 2-0. 2 goals by Ty Barabo, including the game winner in 6th minute of extra time. They are now unbeaten in 5 straight. Looking good here for the Union. I believe their next game coming up is Saturday. And then they have their U.S. Open Cup match against a team from Pittsburgh coming up as well. So we'll have more on that as it comes. But good win for the Union. And then the Flyers have a new coach. An old face is back in the building. Rick Tocchet will be the Flyers' next head coach. He's been a head coach for 9 different seasons, or 3 different teams for 9 seasons. Made the playoffs twice, but he's known really for kind of his teaching style and working with both vets and younger players. So I know there's a lot of folks out there who think, here we go, the nepotism again, Flyers going in-house, blah, 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 blah. But I do think this is a good move for the Flyers. Not so much that he used to play for them, but I think the way his coaching style is for a team that has a ton of draft picks this year and should have a lot of young players coming in, it should be a good mix there. And then Tocchet has the name brand, which will help attract players too. So they're in that spot now where they're starting to look to the future to start being able to compete and being relevant. I think Rick Tocchet helps with that. So Rick Tocchet, Flyers new head coach. Philly Goat has you covered when it comes to Flyers, Sixers, Phillies, and Eagles gear. Want to celebrate the schedule, the Phillies, Rick Tocchet, whatever you want. Go to Philly Goat. And I've been telling you, go through their website, scroll through, see what they have, and take some time to go through. Going to order my kids slides today. Those are great for the pool. Wore them when I was down in spring training at the beach. They're great for that. So go to Philly Goat. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off your order. That's phillygoat.com. Promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order. All right, today we're going to go back to the 80s today. And I got two things for you. First, in 1984, sticking with a Flyers theme, Bobby Clarke officially retired from the Flyers when he accepted the general manager position. One of the few guys who stepped right from the field or the ice or the court, stepped into a high-level front office position and was fairly successful. He had 2 stints with the Flyers as general manager, 17 playoff appearances, 3 Stanley Cup final appearances, also took the Florida Panthers to the Stanley Cup finals, he didn't take Florida to the Stanley Cup finals, he took Minnesota, but had built a good team in Florida as well. But in Philly, he was known pretty much for not getting a starting goalie or a quality goalie. It seems like there was always a goalie carousel under Bobby Clarke. Lots of first-round playoff exits, especially late in his tenure. And always seemed to get old players that were past their primes. I'm thinking guys like Adam Oates. Always forget that he played for the Flyers, but got them the big name after the fact. Always had that old school mindset, the Broad Street Bully philosophy, and never really kind of adapted until it was too late. But Bobby Clarke is the Flyers personified, so hard to argue with one of the all-time greats. But Bobby Clarke retired on this day in 1984 when he accepted the general manager position of the Flyers. Fast forward 5 years to 1989, the Phillies beat the Giants 3-2 in 12 innings. And lots of weird tidbits from this one. Don Carmen for the Phillies pitched 9 scoreless innings, gave up 4 hits, struck out 4, but walked 7. Scott Geraltz for the Giants also went 9 scoreless innings for the Giants. You don't see that at all today, especially you didn't see it much back then either, and especially in an era where the pitcher batted. For both starting pitchers to go all 9 innings was incredible. Steve Bedrosian gave up 2 home runs to Will Clark and Kevin Mitchell in the top of the 12th, but it was Bob Dernier who pinch hit for Don Carmen in the bottom of the 9th, who came up with 2 outs in the bottom of the 12th and hit a 2-out, 3-run walk-off inside the park home run, scoring Steve Lake and Dickie Thon. Yes, a walk-off inside the park home run. You don't see that too often. Kevin Mitchell misplayed the ball out of the corner down at the vet. But this was one of the few highlights in a very dismal 1989 season for the Phillies. They would go on to lose 95 games. This was the year that Mike Schmidt retired. And really the team had little to no hope. But these are the teams I grew up with. So I do remember this game. I remember the players on this team in this game and just how brutal those teams were. But on this day, it was all sunshine and roses for the Phillies as they beat the Giants 3-2 in 12 innings when Bob Dernier hit a 3-run walk-off 2-out homer in the bottom of the 12th that stayed inside the park. And that happened on this day in 1989. And then finally today, our Philly Sports Summertime Playlist Song of the Day, sticking with the Phillies theme, Dirty Laundry by Don Henley. This was released in 1982. Spent 3 weeks as the number 3 song on the Billboard Hot 100. It was the second single off of his first solo album when he left the Eagles. And the Philly sports angle here is, if you were down at the vet or the early days of Citizens Bank Park, you know that Pat Burrell used to use Dirty Laundry as his walk-off or walk-up song. And if there was ever a song that was more appropriate for a player, not sure what it is. And if you know the stories about Pat Burrell, you know what I'm talking about. But Dirty Laundry by Don Henley is today's Philly Sports Summer Playlist song of the day. And as a bonus track, because what's a good, you need like a long couple-hour playlist. The bonus track today is I Won't Back Down by Tom Petty. One of my favorite songs, one of my favorite songs that they play at Lincoln Financial Field. And I'll never forget, it was right around the time that Tom Petty had died. They played it during a timeout during a game. I believe it was the Super Bowl season in 2017. And the entire crowd, it was just an incredible atmosphere, incredible feeling. The entire crowd was singing along to Tom Petty over the loudspeakers. So I Won't Back Down by Tom Petty is our bonus track of the day. But our summertime Philly Sports Playlist song of the day, Don Henley, Dirty Laundry, Pat Burrell's walk-up song. And again, if you know about Pat Burrell, this is very apropos. On this day in 1989, Phillies beat the Giants 3-2. Bob Dernier with an inside the park, 2-out, walk-off homer in the bottom of the 12th to win it for the Phils. On this day in 1984, Bobby Clarke accepted the general manager position, officially retiring from the NHL. Still likely the greatest Flyer ever. He is Mr. Flyer, Flyer personified, whatever you want to say about it. Give me your thoughts on Rick Tocchet. Is this part of just the Flyers sticking within the organization, or is this a good move for the Flyers? We'll have more on the Union. Go to Philly Goat. Go to Lotwin. Check out the hype chains. At Philly Goat, use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off your order. No Phillies game, but let me know your thoughts. How many wins you got the Eagles having this year? I'm right in between that 11 and 12. If I had to place the bet now, of course, I would bet over 11.5, but I think 11 is the number. But let me know where you see them going. Do you see them having more or less? I think a lot's going to be dependent upon the ebbs and flows of the seasons, but certainly could see another slow start out of the Eagles again this year. But let me know your thoughts on that on the Back to the Future voice and text line. Stay tuned tomorrow for Fridays with AI. Looking forward to always, as we always do, spending time with AI on a Friday. But I'm very pleased, like I said, that I'm joining the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network. Going to be good things on the horizon for the podcast, but don't worry, nothing is going to change as far as the content and what you get. It's going to be small, minor tweaks that's only going to help the production value and help grow this thing as I finally have a quasi-Baba Booey. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for May 15th, 2025. My name's Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Thursday, and until next time, I'll see you when I see you.